ever accepted a deeply heartfelt apology, completely convinced that the person meant it, only to find yourself right back in the exact same painful situation just a few weeks later? Well, you are definitely not alone. It's a universally frustrating experience. Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a single, incredibly potent observation from author and strategist Robert Greene that explains exactly why this happens. We're looking at a truly profound dynamic when it comes to human behavior, character, and the boundaries we set in our relationships. We're essentially deconstructing a core mystery here. What actually happens when someone wrongs you? And more importantly, what the aftermath really means for the both of you. It's like a masterclass in reading people, and we are going to break the whole shebang down piece by piece. Okay, let's dive into this. Robert Greene starts with a very specific, grounded premise. If somebody does something once to you. Now, I want you to put yourself directly into a hypothetical scenario for a second. Imagine you're in a completely routine meeting at work, and suddenly a colleague you thought you had a decent rapport with just snaps at you. They belittle your idea completely out of nowhere, right in front of everybody. It's totally jarring, right? Or maybe it's a friend who casually drops a deeply cutting remark at a dinner party. It's a singular event. In that exact moment, your brain registers it as a shocking first offense. The air just literally leaves the room. To really understand Greene's analysis of what happens next, we're going to follow a structured four-part path today. Number 1, we'll examine the just once myth. Number 2, we'll dissect the anatomy of an excuse. Number 3, we'll look at the harsh truth in the reality of patterns. And finally, number 4, we'll conclude with the dual revelation. So, jumping right into section 1, the just once myth. This myth is essentially the foundation of the trap we all fall into when we're evaluating other people's actions. When someone does something that's bad, or they're mean, or they yell at you, it's not some simple, breezy misunderstanding. No, it is an active, negative behavior directed right at you. Think back to that colleague snapping at you. It causes an immediate emotional spike, doesn't it? Your heart races, you feel incredibly embarrassed, maybe even furious. It is a highly uncomfortable, genuinely painful reality. And because it hurts, human nature instinctively kicks in. Our brains immediately scramble to rationalize the threat just to soften that emotional blow. We are desperately trying to find a reason why this isn't actually as bad as it feels. And that brings us right to the grand illusion of the number one time, just once. As observers, especially as people who care about or have to work with this offender every day, we desperately want to believe that this bad behavior is an entirely isolated incident. Why do we do this? Well, it's because of a psychological phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. It's basically when it's deeply uncomfortable to hold two conflicting ideas in your head, like, I really like this person, and wow, this person just treated me terribly. To resolve that tension, we convince ourselves that one means anomaly. It's just a protective mechanism. We think surely this single nasty data point doesn't represent who they truly are. We want to believe the best in people. Actually, scratch that. It's more like we need to believe the best, because recognizing a deeply toxic trait means we might actually have to take some uncomfortable action, like confronting them or cutting ties. So we cling for dear life to the number 1. Let's move to section 2 and see how this builds. Anatomy of an excuse. Because what happens immediately after that so-called number 1 incident is almost comical in how predictable it is. Right on cue, the offender hands you the exact rationalization you've been subconsciously begging for. Greene points out the specific script people use, and let's be real, it's a script we have all heard a million times. Oh, I'm so sorry, I really didn't mean that. You know that isn't me, right? I don't know what happened, something just came over me. I've just been under so much stress. These phrases are so carefully engineered to sound disarming and vulnerable. The offender is actively trying to reinforce that just once myth we just broke down. They are practically pleading with you to treat this as a fluke, like a temporary software glitch in their personality. And honestly, it's wild how quickly we are willing to just accept a beautifully packaged, yet completely hollow apology, entirely just to restore the peace. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast. The offender claims that isn't me. They absolutely want you to separate that one bad action from their core identity. But Greene forcefully shatters this with a harsh, undeniable reality. It is always part of a pattern. He just completely strips away the power of those empty apologies, and this is the absolute crucial shift in understanding. When someone yells at you and immediately follows it up with, that isn't me, Greene is arguing that it is in fact exactly who they are. It's not a glitch. It is a pure revelation of their fundamental character. The mask just slipped for a split second. Which brings us to section 3, the reality of patterns. We are shifting our focus entirely away from the smoke and mirrors of the excuse, and we're looking directly at the underlying architecture of human behavior. That is never the case. I mean, Greene really doesn't mince words here. He doesn't say it's rarely the case or sometimes a fluke, depending on if they had their morning coffee. He says the idea that it's just a one-time accident is never the case. Take a second to really let the absolute gravity of that land. If it is literally never an accident, that means every single time we accept the "I was just stressed" excuse, we are actively lying to ourselves. When someone is mean or crosses a major line and claims it was just a singular lapse in judgment, Greene is warning you that you are being sold a total falsehood. It demands a complete and utter reevaluation of that person's character. And this brilliantly illustrates the inescapable cycle Greene is warning us about. It unfolds like absolute clockwork. Step 1, the bad action occurs, the insult, the betrayal, whatever boundary is being crossed. Step 2, the excuse is deployed. The apology is offered, usually wrapped up in some external blame like a bad day, which essentially hits the reset button on your relationship. But then comes step 3, the repeat. Because it's never just once, Greene states emphatically that they will do it again and again and again. The excuse wasn't a resolution at all, it was just a bridge perfectly designed to buy them enough goodwill to get right to the next offense. The bad behavior isn't an anomaly, folks. It is literally the blueprint of how they operate. Finally, section 4, the dual revelation. This is the moment where Greene's quote pivots from just being a simple observation about a toxic person into a major perspective shift that directly involves you. Focus on this single, powerful word, reveals. As we've established, bad behavior is not an accident. It is a disclosure. It's a peeling back of the curtain. When someone acts out, when they show a complete lack of emotional control or just a total disregard for your boundaries, they aren't losing themselves. They are revealing their core truth in real time. But the absolute genius of Greene's observation is that this revelation, it's not a one-way street. The spotlight doesn't just stay pinned on the offender. So the crucial point is this. Yes, the pattern reveals something fundamental about them. It shows their true character, their willingness to cross lines, their reliance on manipulation to smooth things over. But Greene adds the ultimate kicker. It also reveals something profoundly important about you. This is the absolute heart of the matter. If a person does something bad, excuses it, and then does it again and again, your role in that equation is brought squarely into the light. Think about it. Every single time you forgive the unforgivable, every time you nod along to an excuse that you know deep down is empty, you are broadcasting your own internal rulebook. Your reaction to their behavior basically becomes a mirror reflecting your own self-worth. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to unpack. If it's never just once, and if it is always part of a larger pattern, what does your reaction to that pattern say? If you continually accept the empty apologies, if you eagerly buy into that just once myth, just to avoid conflict, what does tolerating this recurring behavior reveal about your boundaries? What does it say about what you subconsciously believe you actually deserve in your life? Tolerating a toxic pattern isn't just about generously giving someone a second chance. It's about signaling to them, and more importantly to yourself, that your boundaries are totally negotiable. It's a remarkably powerful question to ponder the next time someone looks you dead in the eye after crossing a line and tells you, "That isn't me." Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helps you see the patterns both